Good morning, fifth graders. Today we are going to be starting a new project, and this project is on creating a field trip to space. So we are going to be starting today by looking at field trip choices. But before we get into that, let's think, what information do we need to plan a field trip to space? So what information are we going to need? What do we need to know? We're going to start with a little inspirational video.
Some startled cows got a front row seat to the future of space travel last week. That's when SpaceX performed the latest test flight of their reusable rocket in rural Texas. This footage of the launch provided to the BBC shows the Falcon 9 reusable rocket blasting off in a field and soaring 1,000 meters above the horizon. SpaceX is the California-based space transportation services company founded by Elon Musk. Musk is the man behind Tesla and PayPal, and he hopes to pioneer commercial space flights. After an uneventful flight, the rocket slowly returned back to Earth before making a gentle landing. Next, the company plans to outfit the rockets with retractable legs. More tests are planned. That's one small step for man and a giant leap for privatized space travel. Kate Daly, BBC News, Washington.
Okay, so we are making steps in the direction for space travel. And look, this video is already 6 years old, almost. And so things have changed a lot since this. There's been more talk about it. There's been more building of rockets. So, I mean, someday planning a field trip to space might actually be a reality. So today we are going to be looking at what that might look like in more of a fantasy type way. So you have choices of different field trips. So it's the year 2155, and field trips have changed a lot since the 21st century. Space travel is common and affordable, and many of the planets offer fun activities for students on field trips. Your class has requested information from several planets to help with planning your field trip. Choose two of the following field trips that interest you the most. So you're going to be comparing two different field trips today. So you get to choose to visit two different planets. So your first choices include the moon and Saturn. So the moon is where you'll find the craziest miniature golf course in the entire solar system. You'll love putting through alien castles and crashed spaceships, but watch out for craters. So you'll see that there is a bunch of different information that you need to calculate later on. So you have your transportation costs, your food costs, and your entry fee. So this will be the important information that you'll need later on in your project today. Then we have the theme park on Saturn. Calling all thrill seekers, ride the Ring Jammer coaster around the rings of Saturn. This is a ride you will not likely forget. So then you have your transportation costs, your food costs, and your entry fee costs. Your next choices are Jupiter or Uranus. So, on Jupiter, if you love junk food and fair rides, this is the place for you. Eat your deep fried Twinkies, Oreos, and other treats at the top of the Ferris wheel. Then on Uranus, you can experience a 4D reenactment of the Galactic War of 2080 in an awesome museum made completely of ice. Ride in the real-life Zorg warship if you dare. Wear every sweater and jacket you own. It's going to be cold. So then you have both your information of how much it costs. And then your last choice is the alien petting zoo on Earth. And you have, they're slimy, they're squishy, and so cute. So you have your information here. So now, once you've chosen which 2 field trips you want to look at, you're then going to create a list of the children and adults that will be going on the field trip. So think about how many adults you'll need for how many children are going. And this is a table that I've set up, so all you have to do is click in there and you can type all the names. So you don't have to worry about text boxes at all in this activity. It's all in tables where you can type in each cell. Once you have your children and your adults, so you know your numbers, then at the next one you are gonna write in your trip. So let's say I chose the moon and I chose, let's just say Earth. So those are my 2 choices. Then I'm going to take and I'm going to calculate my food costs. So I'm going to look and think how many kids are going and what's the cost of food. So the food for the kids is $8.60. And let's say that I have 22 kids going. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply. So what do we need to remember about multiplying decimals? So multiplying decimals, we have to, number 1, we don't need to line up our decimal places. We line up the last 2 digits. So I'm going to take $8 and 6 cents times 22. So I lined up my last 2 digits. Oh my gosh, you guys, I spelled 2 wrong. Then my next step is to multiply like usual. So I'm going to use my basic multiplying. So I take 2 times 6 is 12. So I put my 2 down, my 1 up. 2 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. 8 times 2 is 16. Then I need to remember my placeholder. This is a step that a lot of you forget to do. So let's cross out that 2 and put our 0 down. I'm going to get rid of that 1 as well. 2 times 6 is 12. 2 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. And 2 times 18, 2 times 8 is 16. Now I add my numbers together. So I get 2, 3, 7, 7, 1. Now we have step 3. We have to count the number of decimal places in the problem. So I have 1, 2 decimal places. And I have 0 in this one. So that means I need a total of 2 decimal places in my answer. So that means that I count 1, oops, that's not what I want. Oops. So I count 1, and I count over 1, 2, and so I put my decimal place right here. So my answer to my problem would be $177.32. So that's $177.32. So step number 4 is to place total number of decimal places in the problem into the answer. Counting from the right. And that is how we multiply decimals. Let's practice one more. Let's practice one where we multiply a decimal times a decimal. So let's say we have 12 and 38 times 1.2. So I line up my last 2 decimal places. So I'm going to line up these last 2 numbers. Now I'm going to multiply. 8 times 2 is 16. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 more is 7. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 1 is 2. Cross out our number, drop it down. Then we have 1 times 8 is 8. 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 2 is 2. And 1 times 1 is 1. Now I add. So I get 6, 15, 14, 8, 4, and a 1. Now I need to count my decimal places. So I have 1, 2 decimal places in my top number, and I have 1 in my bottom number. So I have 3 total decimal places that I need to place. So I go 1, 2, 3, and I place it here. If this was going to be money, I would have too many decimal places, so I'm going to round to my nearest hundredth. So I'm going to look at my number in my hundredths place, go one behind. Is 6 a baby or a bully? It's greater than 5, so it's a bully, which means we round up. So we make our 5 a 6, and we drop this 6. So our answer would be $14.86. I will attach another video of multiplying decimals to our lesson for today if you need more of a refresher. Otherwise, let's look back at our assignment for today. So, we're going to use multiplying decimals to find our costs for each of these. Then we'll add up our child cost plus our adult cost to get our total cost, and our adult cost plus our child cost to get our total cost. Then we'll have our transportation costs. We'll add up these 3 to get our grand total. And you'll do the same thing for your second trip to get your grand total, and that is what you need to do for today. So your main things to do today are to choose 2 field trips, figure out who's going, and calculate the costs. You will need to have the costs for tomorrow's assignment. So make sure you get this part of your assignment done today. Remember, if you have any questions, you can always jump on during office hours. Have a great day.